Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back to the garden, Torah, where together we explore what it means to live out Kingdom of Heaven principles. I'm your host, Azaria, and I'm glad you decided to spend the next few minutes with me. If you've been joining me for the past few weeks, let's take a quick look back, because the themes we've covered culminate in the tension we are exploring today. We started in episode 1 by talking about YHWH being distinct, and his call for us to be distinct like him. In episode 2, we explored our purpose, which is to reign over the earth in his likeness. In episode 3, we discussed how life's trials test our faithfulness and mature us for that rulership in his likeness. In episode 4, we unpacked how the kingdom of heaven is here. It's right now. It's about accepting YHWH's instructions and letting them grow to full maturity inside of us. And in episode 5, last week, we looked at the historical meaning of the Greek word pistis, reframing our understanding of faith from a passive belief into an active pledge of protection and service. Today, I want to dive into a bit of a tough question. It's about the tension we often feel when we think about different aspects of YHWH's nature. Let's think about it. He's the lawgiver. He expects our obedience. He also allows us to be tested. And at the same time, he's the definition of compassionate, merciful, and just. It's a lot to hold together. This idea of obedience plus mercy, plus there's an adversary who tests us. This is the palpable tension that we feel as we live out our everyday lives. So what do we do with it? If YHWH is the one allowing us to be tested, what can we say? What audience can we expect to have with the King of Kings when it is his will to test us? Really quickly, if you enjoy tuning in for weekly Shabbat Thoughts, let me know by liking this video, commenting below, and subscribing if you have not already. Also, if you hit the notification bell, you'll get a notification of the next time I post. It is my goal to create a song every week with the theme of the song summarizing the previous week's Shabbat Thought. Here's a clip of the song called Remember My Pistis, Remember My Faith, based on last week's Shabbat Thought.
YHWH Almighty, please see my faithfulness.
I have loved you
And kept your commands.
Give me standing.
Give ear to my cry.
If you liked what you just heard, check out the full song in the playlist for this channel. You can also check out the song by clicking in the link in the description box below, searching Remember My Pistis, Remember My Faith in the YouTube search bar, or by clicking on the suggested video that pops up at the end of this video. Stay tuned for a new song, hopefully coming out sometime this week based on today's Shabbat Thought. Before we dive in, I'd like to share a quick disclaimer. These Shabbat Thoughts are exactly that. They are my personal ponderings and reflections. I'm sharing these to hopefully encourage deep thought and conversation, so take each Shabbat Thought as an invitation for you to explore these topics with me. I would love to hear your perspective. And speaking of today's Shabbat Thought, let's dive in. In the book of Job, in chapter 1, we see an interesting scene unfold. The angels are coming to present themselves before YHWH, presumably to give an accounting of what they had been doing. YHWH asks one particular angel, described as the adversary, where he had been. The adversary responded saying that he was roaming to and fro on the earth. Then YHWH brings Job to the adversary's attention, a faithful man that YHWH described as blameless, upright, fearing God, and shunning evil. The adversary then proposes that Job may not be as blameless and upright at heart as he appears. The adversary proposes that YHWH remove the hedge of protection from Job to test the contents of Job's heart. YHWH then consents to the adversary testing Job, and all throughout the test, Job did not sin, not once, and YHWH restored twofold all of the possessions that Job had lost throughout the test. Interestingly, though, in the opening of the book of Job, it is YHWH who invited the adversary to consider and to test Job. The adversary only spoke when spoken to, And the adversary only obtained authority to test Job after YHWH had decided that Job should be considered. So, what hope do we have if YHWH is the one who commissions the adversary to bring about some of the troubles we experience in our lives? I want to encourage you that we certainly do have hope. And here's why I'm confident in that hope. 1, YHWH is the lawgiver, and he wants us to keep his law. And 2, YHWH is merciful, compassionate, and just. Since YHWH gave the law, and since YHWH is good, when he commanded that we keep his law, his expectation was not unreasonable, nor was it beyond our reach. If living according to YHWH's commands is not unreasonable according to him, then YHWH must have provided the means by which we can endure the test. This is where the power of advocacy comes in. Let's look at Abraham's conversation with YHWH as a starting point. In Genesis chapter 18, YHWH determined that he would let Abraham know that he planned to judge Sodom and Gomorrah. Abraham then draws near to YHWH and asks him if YHWH would destroy both the righteous and the wicked in the cities. Abraham appeals to YHWH's nature, saying, "Far be it from you to do such a thing as this, to slay the righteous with the wicked, so that the righteous should be as the wicked. Far be it from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do right?" YHWH allowed Abraham to have this audience with him. And even more importantly, YHWH allowed Abraham to negotiate with him. Even though Abraham's general request that Sodom and Gomorrah be spared for the righteous was denied, the substance of Abraham's petition was granted. Because of Abraham's petition, YHWH made a way for Lot, Abraham's nephew, and Lot's family to escape from Sodom and Gomorrah before the cities were destroyed. We see similar advocacy from Noah in Jubilees chapter 10. Do you recall how YHWH decided to destroy the earth by flood after some of the angels decided to marry human women? These unions bore children called the Nephilim, and these unions and their children, they defiled the earth, which led to YHWH judging the earth by flood. YHWH spared a small remnant by having Noah build an ark that his family, along with various animals and birds, entered and survived the floodwaters. After the flood, Noah taught his children and grandchildren the ways of righteousness and obedience to YHWH's commandments. But not long after the flood, Noah became concerned. He saw that the disembodied spirits of the Nephilim, now called demons, were already beginning to lead his sons astray. Noah then prayed to YHWH, saying, "God of all the spirits of all flesh, who has shown me mercy, who has saved me and my sons from the waters of the flood, and who has not caused me to perish as you did for the sons of perdition, because your grace has been great towards me, and your mercy for my soul has also been great. Let your grace be lifted onto my sons. Please bless me and my sons so that we may increase, multiply, and replenish the earth. You know how your watchers, the fathers of these spirits, acted in my day. Let these spirits, which have remained alive, be imprisoned and bound in the place of condemnation. Do not let them bring destruction on your servants' sons, my God, because they are malignant and they were created to destroy. Do not let these spirits rule over the spirits of the living, because you can exercise dominion over them. Do not let them have power over the sons of the righteous from now and forevermore." Now, after Noah prayed, YHWH ordered the angels to bind all of the unclean spirits. But when the adversary learned about this, he made a counter petition to YHWH, saying, "YHWH, Creator, let some of them remain before me, and let them listen and pay attention to my voice, doing all that I tell them to do. If none of them are left to me, I will not be able to execute the power of my will on the sons of men. These spirits are for corruption and leading men astray before my judgment, because the wickedness of the sons of men is great. Let 1/10 of them remain with me, and let 9/10 descend into the place of condemnation." After the adversary's counter petition, all of the unclean spirits were bound in the place of condemnation, and only 1/10 were allowed to remain under the adversary's direction. This account of Noah reflects the role of an advocate and the role of an adversary. Notice how when Noah initially makes his petition to YHWH, he succeeds, and YHWH decides to bind all of the unclean spirits. Did you also notice how when the adversary makes his counter petition, YHWH listens and grants his request to permit 1/10 of the unclean spirits to remain unbound for the testing of men? YHWH's will, as shown by his response to Noah, is not to have wickedness prevail on the earth, nor is it his will for the evil spirits to rule over the spirits of the living. Yet, as we see in YHWH's response to the adversary, it is also his will to draw out which of all men are wicked before the day of judgment, so that all wickedness might come to an ultimate end. So what I see here is a balance of interests. YHWH is merciful and willing to relent for the sake of righteousness multiplying on the earth. And simultaneously, YHWH aims to see who among all mankind will rule in opposition to his likeness, against his face, and in spite of his mercy, compassion, and goodness. This kind of evil and wickedness he wants to root out. Brothers and sisters, YHWH is not looking to make your test unfair. Walk in righteousness according to your pistis and in obedience to his command. When you turn to him with all your heart, he promises that you will find him. So the purpose is twofold. The purpose of the test is to grow us and not crush us. So pray for relief, strength, and perseverance. The second part of the test is to weed out the wicked from his kingdom. So pray for refuge while the wicked experience his wrath. And if it is us who are wicked, we must repent and do what is right, lest we perish during the days of his wrath. So please, do not be sifted out of the kingdom of heaven. When your walk becomes burdensome, plead your cause to YHWH and fervently petition for relief according to his goodness. Brothers, pray according to YHWH's goodness. Sisters, pray according to YHWH's compassion. Family, mature through the test and shut off anything that tries to ensnare you. Friends, in all your ways, carry out his will with diligence, resist the schemes of the adversary, and know this: he will flee. Do you now see that YHWH does not want to lose you in this tension between his compassion and his test? Do you now see that he is seeking to grow you to be like him? Do you now see that he desires to weed out those who refuse to live according to his likeness and his ways? If you can see, comment below. I commit to standing firm and advocating in righteousness. Until next time, Shabbat Shalom.
Remember my faith.
You pledged your protection.
And I pledge my service.
Yehovah,
You are Lord of the angel armies
please see my faithfulness.
and preserve